People who grew up poor, besides practical money-saving measures, what were the unwritten social expectations of your world growing up? You never brought the field trip permission slips home because you knew better than to make your mom feel guilty she couldn't pay the $5 to 20 feet to let you go. I did this, too. Staying behind in the library while everyone else went, honestly was perfectly fine with me. I learned not to ask for things I don't really need. I should do fine on my own is what I think. Don't always ask for help. That's one thing my dad wouldn't let us miss out on. Even during the recession he got upset I hadn't told him about a field trip. He was willing to shell out money for my senior trip to Disney World but I refused. I knew about our situation by then. Gosh. I'm mid-40s now. In my childhood I spent dreaming of Disney, Universal Studio and mostly Space Camp in Huntsville. My classmates and cousins all went multiple times. I was 31 when I had enough of my life together to be comfortable blowing money on a real vacation. Disney, Universal and 3 whole days to Kennedy Center, combing every inch of that place twice. Sure, the magic wasn't the same as if I had been a kid, but it was still so special and I enjoyed not only the parks but the pride that I paid for it all by myself. I want to say, never too late. Hide money or it will be borrowed. Also, don't get attached to anything because if it's any good it'll be sold in a yard sale, and if it has any value it will be pawned. I got the same CD player for 3 Christmases and birthdays in a row, out of pawn for birthday, pawned again a month later, out of pawn for Christmas, pawned again by March, etc. I drew all over my PlayStation after getting it out of pawn for the second time. My parents had pawned it the first time after asking me if they could. They promised me all sorts of stuff, like new games and treats when they got it out. That didn't happen. The second time they pawned it, they did it while I was at school. They didn't even tell me. They just waited for me to go into my room and see that it was gone. So when I got it back that time, I grabbed a Sharpie and drew gross pictures on it and swear words. Same with all my games. I mean, I only had FF7 and Tekken 3, but I didn't want to take any chances. Yup. I was always at school when my crap got pawned too, would come home and it would be gone. I think the worst part was that sometimes my music was still in it. I don't know how many tapes and CDs I lost that way, but I do remember being absolutely livid over the fact that nobody checked to make sure there was nothing in it before they took it to the shop. Marking your territory. Nice. I am the second of 8 kids of high school dropout parents. It doesn't matter if you don't like the food, clothes, shoes, toys, etc. Take it, say thank you and be appreciative. You can do anything you want, as long as it's free. You will survive. If someone needs it more, let it go. Never tell anyone you are hungry or need something, it makes you seem weak and needy. The second you become working age, 10 plus, you will help with bills. You have no choice. Your money is everyone's money. Which is fine, until you realize the new tattoo mom has and dad's new TV. Edit. Thank you for the conversation and awards. I am happy to hear a lot of us who struggled are doing so well and have even tried or succeeded in repairing the relationship with their parents. I hope you all have a great life and a beautiful day. Until you realize the new tattoo mom has and dad's new TV. Had an uncle and aunt like this. They'd often call crying because they didn't have money for groceries. Mother effer, you bought a motorcycle last week. They had this mental gymnastics where any money you gave them would only go towards the kids, yet their own money would always go to any flavor of the weak frivolous bullcrap. It's not the same money, rolling eyes face. We often had the cousins over for dinner growing up. When I was young I didn't really realize it, but my dad was always preaching not to mix money and family. That's why he'd go over and bring them home for dinner rather than give them money. A bit older, I remember seeing my dad shouting at my uncle thinking they were alone when us kids and cousins were supposed to wait in the car, but I had went back for some reason. I had never seen my dad this mad, still haven't to this day, only ever the aftermath of these fights where he'd be upset but stoic. I didn't even realize such rage was possible at the time. That was the week with the motorcycle thing. He left my uncle at his door and made his way back towards the car. He didn't expect me to be there. I just hugged him and told him I loved him and I was lucky he was my dad, although probably less articulate than that. Even then I didn't fully understand by how much we were lucky to be born in that family. "Uncle is feeling sick tonight, kids. He won't be joining us for dinner," he said when we came up to the car. The following dinner was exactly the same as always, but my perspective wasn't. We never really talked about that time much, but all of us kids often reminded our parents we were lucky to have them. I mean, comparing parents probably shouldn't be a thing, but it was. My cousins. They both dropped school. She got pregnant multiple times before 18, he enrolled in the army to get away. They're doing better now, but it's like they started the game on hard while we're playing on normal. Sorry for the rant. Keep your aspirations to yourself. Telling anyone in your household/social strata about your plans to get out and do better may be met with bitterness and downright ridicule. People will call you uppity for wanting to go to school or stupid for having a career goal that isn't modest and local and vaguely dead-end. People will tell you that you have no common sense simply because you refuse to see the world in terms of pure survival. I've never had a stranger put into words the exact ways I was ridiculed for daring to go to college. I had your same experience, except add in all the ways me going to school and not keeping that good $8.25 retail job, of which they took all the pay for bills, would lead to my parents and 2 younger brothers, eviction. I was told I was never welcome back if I left. But I had to. I haven't seen or heard from the 4 of them in 15 years. I'm closer to my 12th grade English teacher who made my depressed ass apply for the scholarship that eventually paid for my college. Wow, sorry for the long post. Just brought back memories. I hope you're doing better, dude/dudette. You made the right choice. A loving family should support you and want you to achieve the best you can for yourself. I'm proud of you if no one else is. It sucked to have a computer for school but not be able to afford it. Did your parents ever pull the whole "they're not going to give you homework that you have to use a computer for"? Yes. Many, many times. Going to the doctor isn't an option until your fever is sustained at 104, a bone is broken, or the tooth rotted and won't fall out on its own. I am in my late 30s with full insurance and still have a hang-up about going for medical care. I have 2 gaps to this day from teeth that were removed because you could get rotted teeth removed at the free health center. If you had tooth problems, you waited until the tooth rotted out and had it removed. It was such a shock to me when I found out people have full-on relationships with their physicians and dentists because they saw them regularly all their childhood. I can tell my teeth have shifted over the years from not being able to get replacement teeth or bridges. This is the saddest crap, yo, to not even be able to have preventative care. I grew up in a trailer. In 4th grade, a girl was having a birthday party and needed addresses for invitations. The next day she told me her parents uninvited me because I lived in the trailer. That was a new thing I learned I was supposed to be embarrassed about. I guess just expecting to have to deal with other people's crafty parents sometimes. Edit. Thanks for all the replies and awards. I really thought this comment would get lost in the thread. I'm 31 and I still think about this all the time, and it puts me back in that small place all over again, which I know is silly. Stuff just sticks with you sometimes, you know? Actually felt good to sort of get it off my chest though. I've read all the replies and see all of you. We can make our own little trailer park, smiley face. I feel this in my gut. I grew up feeling ashamed and a lot of times not understanding why. Adults were way meaner than kids ever were. I work with kids because I want to make sure that all of them know they are worth it no matter what is going on at home. Adults are just giant kids, and they have no idea what they're doing anyway. I'm so sorry that happened. Money really can't buy class. I remember other kids' parents not wanting me over because I was always hungry. I remember the same parents being upset when I started going to the gifted program with their kids too. Bitch, I'm effing 9. You're a goddamn doctor. I just want to cut down trees with your son and split a Pop-Tart. The not being welcome because of hunger thing stuck with me. I was a kid who had never lived in a house with enough food. I thought the kids who drank apple juice were bougie because we only had water. The experience of being yelled at by an adult for enjoying something their child shared with me shamed me to my core. Anytime my kids have friends over, I go out of my way to treat them to a good meal or some choice snacks. No one goes without in my home. Crap, I can't imagine knowing a child is hungry and not wanting to feed them. They're kids. They rely on us to care for them. If they're not getting food at home for whatever reason, you bet your ass they'll get it at mine. Edit. Thanks for all the awards, strangers. I'm just saying what we all seem to be thinking. It's really wonderful reading all the stories of the people you have helped and have helped you. It's restoring my faith a bit in a time when there's a lot of craziness going on. I used to always have other kids at my house at meal times when my kids were still in school, middle school and up. Feeding all those kids every day kind of got hard to do. I told my kids I couldn't afford to keep feeding all their friends, and told them to go eat at their friends' houses. They told me, "Mom, the reason they all eat over here is you are the only mom we know who knows how to cook." Then I told them I'd be glad to give cooking lessons, and the kids said, "Mom, they don't have the money to buy the groceries." I kept cooking and having friends over for supper. When my son was little, about 3, we had a family that lived across the street. I honestly don't know everything that went on there, but food was scarce. The parents were on and off drugs. The little boy was in kindergarten. He came over to my house every day after school to play with my 3-year-old. Actually, he came over, I fed him a snack, he watched cartoons, then would fall asleep until my husband would come home from work. Then I sent him home. This happened every day for a year. His mom finally sent him to live with his bio dad in another state. It was a weird situation. I still think about him though. Never tell your friends that you couldn't afford food or give them any clue about what it's like at home. My mother used to ask me if I told anyone how we live, and that's when I started questioning our situation. I once told some friends we had mushrooms growing in our house. I thought it was cool. My mom was angry and told me to never tell anyone again. I realized as I got older why she was angry. The floor of our house was rotting, thus the mushrooms. But she couldn't afford to get it fixed. She was worried CPS would take me away for unsafe living conditions. When I was like 8, my parents' bathroom was carpet, so was the other bathroom, no idea why, and their shower was leaking, thus mushrooms grew in the corner, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever and wanted it to happen again. Took me another 5 years to realize how bad that actually was. I thought this was going to be a different type of mushrooms. If it had been, maybe they could have had a floor. I was talking to a friend and she stopped me and said, "You don't tell people what goes on inside of this house, do you?" "No, of course not," I lied, because if I'd said yes, she'd manipulate my father into beating my ass within an inch of my life. She pretty much got my father to beat me whenever she wanted it. What a bitch of a friend. Edit, because I misunderstood. What a bitch of a mother. I think they meant their mother asked them as they were talking to a friend. Nothing wasted. Mom had a dish called mixed up stew, which was basically a little minced beef, mashed potatoes and any leftovers from the fridge. Good menu planning. She never called it that, but one meal led to the next with last night leftovers included. Failing that, she always had a soup on the go using bones from chicken, dried barley and, yet again, leftovers. Thing is, they were all delicious, but that could be me just remembering her fondly. To this day I am still confused by people who seem to hate leftovers. It comes up a lot when there's a discussion on whether it's cheaper to cook versus eat out. People who find it expensive to cook want something fresh and brand new every day. Whereas I'll make a lasagna, about 6 portions, freeze it and have it whenever during the week/month. It confuses me even more when that person is British, considering how popular pre-made frozen food is here, and how many people find themselves at Frankie and Benny's, probably our version of Olive Garden, or TGI Fridays. I understand that cooking takes time and effort, which is why it doesn't make sense to me to throw away leftovers or not make a little bit extra. My partner and their family hate leftovers. I think it has something to do with how they've generally always had money growing up. I wouldn't call them rich, but they were comfortable. I was so surprised my first Thanksgiving at their house when they organized the meal to have bare minimum leftovers. To me, that's the whole point of Thanksgiving. You have leftovers for days so you don't have to cook and get to enjoy at minimum 2 meals of Thanksgiving food. That post-Thanksgiving turkey sandwich with turkey sandwich spread and a good amount of black pepper is what I look forward to. I know, right? For me it's a sandwich with turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and just a smear of cranberry sauce with Duke's mayo. But no, these people were pathological, to the point of saying, "Okay, we have 5 people coming and they'll probably have 3 slices of turkey/ham each, so we're only going to order 15 slices of each, so there's just enough." One year I finally put my foot down and said I'll either cook or purchase a cooked turkey for Thanksgiving, and I'll take every single scrap home with me if I have to, just so I can have a damn turkey sandwich for lunch the next day. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.